Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to introduce Lisa Rust today, who's here to chat with us more about snow and making snow fun, which is such a great topic because I think sometimes we can go into this place of like, it's, I would like to say indoors by the fire. And she's a longtime educator and teacher. And I'm just really thrilled that she's here with us to share on this topic. So, Lisa, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I love to
Yes.
share my knowledge. Yeah.
Yes, it's so great. And especially too, like, where I'm at, we have to kind of travel to snow, but I know some people snow is all around them. And so this is a conversation for everybody, no matter what your status is, I think, around winter, but also I think in general, how to motivate to be outside in winter is a really cool
Yeah.
and awesome topic. And I know this will kind of cover that too as well. Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to share her slides and then we'll go from there. Let me
All
just
right.
pop you into presentation mode. Let me see if I can get this.
Hey. And
All these things happening. Here we go.
yeah, there's a present up there. Yeah,
I just hit
exactly.
that
Thank
button, but
you.
then, okay, there we go. Okay,
All
sweet.
right. Should load. Yay. Okay. So just the main thing, I wanted to be outside in the snow, but right now in Hood River, Oregon, we don't have any snow. So I was like, well, I'll just make my own, pretend that there's snow there. But I mean, my kids are kind of funny when they see snow. They're like, "Oh, we just get to snuggle up on the couch and drink hot cocoa." I'm like, "No, we're gonna get out there. We're gonna move." So just I don't know everybody's comfort level in the snow, but I just want to share 3 ways just to get out there. So when you see the snow falling or it's sleeting or it's nasty outside, instead of looking at it as an excuse to stay inside, let's get motivated to go outside. So we're just gonna start off with a little progression, and it really depends on the amount of time that you have and your motivation level, right? So I thought we'd start off easy and we'll talk about a hike or a walk, hike or walk, and then one step up from there, if with time or with motivation, would be to go snowshoeing. And maybe then if you've got like a day free or a weekend and it's snowed and it's beautiful, then and your adventure level is high, how about a cross country ski? So but underpinning all of this, I also come from a search and rescue background, and I've been on a lot of winter searches and rescues, and it is a slightly different game when you go outside in the elements in the winter. And so I just undermining all of this, you'll notice that I'm just really focused on being prepared. Just we don't want any surprises. So you can go to the next one.
Okay. Oh, let's see if I know how to do this. Oh, okay.
Super. So these days, no gym, right? Gyms are closed. The weather's terrible, got snow. I just want you to think about some options that you have. We have options. Some things to consider. Your time constraints. Do you have like an hour after work, or do you just have an hour before work? If that's the case and the weather's bad, it might just be, like I said, a walk or a hike. And I'm just gonna give you a few things to have ready so that you can just walk out the door and just go take that hour to be in the snow and be comfortable and confident in the snow. And then the other thing to think about is, okay, what's my motivation level? Let's say I have a lot of time. I have 2, 3, 4 hours or even half a day today, but what's my motivation level? Do I really want to go on a slightly bigger adventure? If so, I want to give you options. So the key here is not to make the weather or the snow or the ice or the elements an excuse for not going outside, but to think of them as an opportunity for getting out there. So, okay, next slide. Okay, so a couple things. Got a little bit of snow or maybe some ice or sleet. We get that a lot out here in Oregon. We get like this, it's called freezing rain, and I woke up to it the other day and literally I couldn't walk out on my deck because it was frozen solid. So if you only have a little time though, still you can get out. Just a note here for all of this, if you are gonna go out in the snow or the ice or the elements, just remember to always tell someone where you're going, or post it on social media, or just tell your kids, hey, I'm going on to hike that one trail over here, whatever it is, or I'm just going to go around the block, just so that if you twist your ankle, if something happens, at least somebody knows where you are, and when to expect you back. That is so important. Most of the searches or rescues that we go on, they happen really late because nobody even knew that that they were missing in the first place. So just cover yourself. And that's just good practice across the board for whatever it is that you're going to be doing. Okay, so let's talk about going for a quick hike. You can advance the slide and I'll just show you a couple things to consider. So I always go out prepared, even if it just snowed and I'm just gonna take my dog for a walk around the block. Couple things, I like to have just a small backpack, just always packed. I've got a little water bottle in there and like an energy bar, even if I'm only gonna go for an hour. Because that hour, you remember this is winter, it could turn into something much longer than that. In the snow, I really would recommend having shoes. Instead of going out in your tenny runners or your gym shoes, have a pair of shoes that goes up above your ankle just to keep the snow out of your boot, or out of the, so your feet don't get cold, because it's really easy to be like, after 10 minutes, oh, I'm gonna go back, my feet are wet, I'm freezing cold, I'm gonna go back. So having a nice, it doesn't have to be a heavy duty pair of boots, but at least a pair of boots that come up and cover your ankle there, okay? I always have a puffy here in the Pacific Northwest. Wherever you are, you might need more than that, but always have an extra layer, even if it's just a rain layer or something like that, and you can just put that in your backpack as well. I never go anywhere without a headlight. I never go outside without a headlight. And I know that sounds crazy because you're like, I don't need a headlight. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Why would I need that? But we see so many people, we get called out so often on people that didn't plan to be out past dark, and it just happens and they're stuck and it's stressful. And a headlight, they're so light these days. I mean, they're like 3 ounces and you can get, light. So just always have one of those in your backpack. Of course, nice warm hat and gloves to keep yourself walking and warm and happy when you're out there. And then just the other day, I went for a hike on a trail that I hike all the time, and it had snowed, but it's a busy trail and the snow got packed down and then there was some rain on it. So all of a sudden it turned into this really slick, kind of icy trail, something that I always walk. I still went up it. I'm pretty comfortable in steep snow and ice, but the people that were on the trail, I was like, why didn't I bring mine? So they make these little ice traction, and you can pick them up anywhere, and they're like $20, and they're so small, and you just throw them in your pocket or throw them in your backpack, and you can go anywhere. You can hike wherever you want. So really nice to have anytime you're walking outdoors or in the winter, or if there's snow involved. They're flyweight, just throw them in your pack. And when it gets steep, sometimes it's really easy going up in snow, but when you're coming down, it kind of gets a little nerve-wracking, and we want to have fun out there. So just throw a pair of those on your boots and you've got instant traction. It's really nice.
Awesome.
All right, so that pretty much covers like a hike outside. Nothing too much, but just some essentials that you're going to want to have if you go out.
So cool.
All right, we can go to the next one. Okay, so got a lot of snow. It dumps. We had at Christmas, we had a white Christmas. It just started snowing in the morning, and by the afternoon, we had almost 2 feet on the ground. It was amazing. It was beautiful. And so we all wanted to get out in the snow, but ankle cover boots in 2 feet of snow, you're going to get wet, right? So we're like, okay, let's grab our snowshoes. And the great thing about snowshoeing is if you can walk, you can snowshoe. It's not a big commitment. You don't need instruction. Really, you use the same gear that I just went over, and you throw in a pair of snowshoes. Now, I know not everybody has snowshoes, but you can rent them pretty much anywhere. Any outdoor retailer that sells skis or anything like that, they'll have snowshoe rentals. And it's so fun snowshoeing because you can make your own trail. It allows you to go anywhere in the snow. The only thing that you would want to add is a pair of ski poles. Those are really nice because when you get a fresh blanket of snow, you can't see what's under the ground, what's under the snow. You can't see if there's rocks or something that you could trip or fall. So having those ski poles is a really nice third point of balance for you. So couple snowshoe options. I really like, unless you're constantly you're living somewhere where you've got a lot of snow. I really like the small ones, and they're just a little bit bigger than your foot or your boot, and they're lightweight, but they'll still compress the snow around your foot so that your foot won't get all wet and snowy and icy. And then there's some longer ones. I don't know if you can see these, but they're a little more bulky. They're harder to walk in. But if there's a lot of snow, that's sometimes nicer because it gives you a little more lift and support. But snowshoeing is really fun, and it's a great way to get out in the deep powder and go explore and feel comfortable and not feeling like you're, stepping in 2 feet up to your thigh in snow. And so, but it will take a little longer on your time. So that's where you want to think about, okay, what are my time constraints? What's my motivation level? There's a little more gear involved, a little more time because you got to go rent the snowshoes and things like that. But it is a really fun adventure to have. So.
Well, and with snowshoes too, Lisa, isn't it? With snowshoes, unlike other gear, once you have it, you're set. Like there's no upgrades or changes. Like you just have snowshoes, right?
Yeah, snowshoeing technology has not changed much. And I would recommend just, if it's something that you just do occasionally, or you just like to go on short hikes, short jaunts, just a small lightweight pair of snowshoes is really all you need. And they're very inexpensive, and they're fully adjustable. You can just, they'll fit pretty much any, sometimes they'll come in a small or a large, and they're really easy to use. So like I said, if you can walk, you can snowshoe. So, all right, we can go to the next one. So, there you go. So snowshoes, just the same gear, just add a pair of ski poles, which are really nice. And I really like the ski poles that will adjust to your height. Because if the snow is really heavy and your poles are dropping down 2 feet, you want to be able to lengthen them. So adjustable poles are nice, but not mandatory. And then I had just a lightweight pair of snowshoes on there. And same thing, you just wear the boots that you would go out on a hike with. So, yeah. Okay, and the next one. So if you're wanting to try something different, maybe you've never been skiing, I highly recommend at least once try going cross-country skiing. It's a little, it feels different than snowshoeing, just because you're on a different medium and you're kind of on skis, and it really works your balance, unlike snowshoeing. So if you're feeling adventurous and you have time, I would recommend trying cross-country skiing. And you can rent cross-country gear in many, many places. One thing I want to clarify though, and this is at the bottom of the screen, is if you've never cross-country skied before, I highly recommend that you start off with what's called classic cross-country skis. They are nice, long, thin, narrow skis. And at the bottom, they have some fishtails that make it so that you won't slide around in the snow. So when you glide forward, they kind of bite in the snow and they stay put. And it's just a lot like walking, but instead of walking with snowshoes, you're kind of sliding your foot forward and you just slide along, and it's like walking. You're going in a straight line, but you're sliding your skis forward, like in the picture there. You do need a special pair of boots. You can't wear the same boots that you've been using or for snowshoeing. So that's why I'm saying just the commitment level, the adventure level is a little more, because you have to get the right boots and the right setup. But once you're there and you've got it, you've got them for the whole day. And if it's something you really enjoy, and then you can buy a cross-country setup for very inexpensive compared to alpine skiing. Cross-country skiing, the classic, I would recommend doing that first because it doesn't require any special lessons or anything like that. Like I said, if you can walk, then you can slide your foot forward and you'll be able to cross-country ski. Some places where you go, they'll say, oh, you should try skate skiing. And I agree, but I would start off, if you've never been on skis before, start off with the classics, because the skate skis require a whole different technique. And actually, I would say in some instruction is helpful with skate skiing. But classic skiing, you can go anywhere. And sometimes they'll have groomed trails that are in the picture there. There's 2 rails in the snow that your skis can stay in. And that's nice, but it's not necessary. You can go and make your own trail with your classic cross-country skis. And we have a road out here, it's flat, and when it snows, people are always, they get on their cross-country ski and they just go ski the roads because all the cars are going really slow by you because it's snowy, right? And people just cross-country ski. Keep in mind to keep it flat. So if you haven't skied before, you want to find someplace flat, because going downhill or down a steep hill on cross-country skis can be very scary. You can get injured. And so I even recommend, if you've got a hill and you're not used to cross-country skis, just pop your skis off and walk down the hill back to where it's flat. So, and let's see, I think that's about it. And of course, even more adventurous, but much greater time commitment and gear intensive and much larger expense is to go alpine skiing. I didn't really want to get into that because obviously that's going to require instruction. You know, you're going to want to take some lessons. My son just broke his leg alpine skiing on New Year's Eve. And so, yes, it's a whole different level. And I would highly recommend, if that's something that you want to try it, go out. It is a lot of fun, but the learning curve it's it's a little more challenging than what I've gone over with you guys. So anything to add or any questions or?
Well, I will ask you questions because it's me. Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Lisa. That was super helpful. And then just like fun to be like, oh, right, there's so many options for snow. I think we can kind of get into, maybe if you are a snow sport person, you can get kind of stuck in like the one thing that you always do, and remembering that you can kind of venture out and change or shift gears and things like that, which is so awesome. So yes, it's very helpful. And can you give like an estimate sort of on time? I think that's always like the biggest thing for these. These tend to be like with a hike or with a snowshoe or with cross-country skiing, like what you would sort of give yourself in terms of time for doing those
I would say, yeah. So for just getting out on the snow, if you're a regular walker and you have a circuit and it snows, just go out and do that. And it would be about the same time, a little bit, right. You know, you're going to be a little slower. If it's snowy though, and you want to go for a hike, it's so fun, but choose a trail that you're familiar with, maybe one that you've hiked on before. And you'll kind of remember, okay, I know that hike takes me about an hour, you know, round trip on that hike. And if you're in snow and you're putting, you know, your traction on, or you're coming downhill and having to walk snow, I would add at least give yourself another hour.
Okay, so you double the hike time.
Yes, and coming down, you're always going to be moving slower, and so give yourself a little bit of time, especially if you're telling somebody, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna go out, you know, expect me back." Give yourself a little buffer there. I would always double the amount of time that it would take to go on a trail that you are used to in the summer or something. For the snowshoeing, it's really nice to have at least a couple of hours, because by the time you go and you get the snowshoes, you're going to want to explore and give yourself, you know, an hour or two to go around, because you're just leisurely walking. It's not like running with snowshoes or anything like that. And so it's nice to have at least a half a day, like maybe 4 hours to get out and do that. Cross-country skiing, you know, you're looking for trails, you're renting gear, you have to get sized for your skis and your boots. And by the time you actually get out there and get back, I would say give yourself a day, like have that be your Saturday treat for yourself to go out and try that. But they're so fun. And they're so different between the snowshoeing and the cross-country skiing. It's going to be a completely different feel. And you can kind of decide for yourself what you enjoy.
Yeah. And it sounds like all of these two are really good for families, or like doing it with people, or even socializing if you're comfortable socializing outside with people, right? To like be
and that's
right.
Yeah, that's the great thing, is you're outside. You guys can get together with your girlfriends and go snowshoeing and easily be 6 feet apart and talking. You're outdoors, you're outside, and it's a great way to be social. And there's no constraints. And the kids love it. I took my kids snowshoeing for the first time. They're like, why haven't we done this? Why are we always skiing? Like, this is really fun. So
way easier, Mom.
Get out of your comfort zone, try something different. Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, and I think too, I used to live in Anchorage, and you just had to get outside just to keep
Yeah.
your sanity in the winter, you know. And I think people forget that frequently, that actually being outside helps, you know, like the endorphins and the hormones and all that just like makes you happier, especially
Yeah.
if winter's hard, right?
Yeah. And the vitamin D level, and just in the
Yes.
winter, we're so, and it's physically, it affects you physically, or a lot of people it will affect physically. Just that sun deficiency, and just and getting outside, yeah, like you said, it just it'll really make you feel better just to breathe that cold air, get out, even if it's just a 20-30 minute walk outside. If you're like, oh, I don't want to go out, it's icy, just throw a pair of traction devices on and just go out and walk, and
Yeah. So cool.
confidently.
Well, Lisa, I love you sharing your expertise and really like your enthusiasm for snow and snow sports is so awesome because I think we all need that, like that motivation of someone who loves it and you're like, oh yeah, I can love it too. Yeah, totally. And then you're just like, I'm gonna go. So I appreciate
Yeah.
you taking the time to share with us and just giving us that burst of inspiration and invigoration and just like to motivate, go do it, you know, and go have fun.
See it as an opportunity. Yeah, not an excuse
Yes.
to stay inside, but as an opportunity to go outside, play around in the snow, and yeah, just enjoy it. So
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here with all of us.
thank you. It was nice to meet you. All right.